Okay, so I'm Kennedy Mullen, and my question is, what are the benefits of bilingualism and what are the effects on the mind? So I will begin by talking about the four main benefits of bilingualism on the brain, and they are cognitive control, problem-solving ability, mental linguistic awareness, and working memory. I will also talk about the other benefits of bilingualism to the brain. Bilingualism promotes many mental, social, and cultural benefits to the society. Okay, so I will begin by talking about cognitive control. The first advantage of cognitive control of the bilingual children is that they have enhanced inhibitory control, which means in a study they discovered that bilingual children are better at finding the important information. Let's say they were reading an article, they're better at extracting that important information and ignoring the misleading cues that are given in articles to generally confuse people. Other example of cognitive control is having a more flexible mind, which means the bilingual children are better at switching tasks and going from other tasks to tasks, especially in very different subjects, such as switching from math to English, or those subjects like that are polar opposite, but they're better at switching and going back and forth without having to make a huge change or have it affect them. Another example is that bilingual children have better cognitive control is for analogical reasoning and multitasking. So they're better at doing multiple things at once. Like they can listen to music and do math, or watch TV and do math, stuff like that. It's easier for them and it works better in a different kind of way. And they're also better at recognizing the conflicting ideas in a story. So it's easier for them to recognize like the protagonist and antagonist and discovering the main issues of the story. So the next topic I will be talking about is the higher problem-solving ability. So in a study of bilinguals and monolinguals, they discovered that bilinguals performed better in verbal and non-verbal measures. And this only works if bilinguals are equally proficient in both languages. So in like tests of creativity and tests of like other examples, they had a higher problem-solving ability. So they're better at, like, let's say they're trying to find how to do a tessellation on octagons. It's an impossible task, but bilinguals would be easier, and it'd be easier for them to perform it. And also, equally proficient bilinguals in a study proved to have better analogical reasoning. So the next benefit to the brain is the mental linguistic awareness. Mental linguistic awareness is basically syntactic and phonological awareness. And so basically it's like word awareness and like understanding topics, and it's like information extracting. So the types of mental linguistic awareness are pragmatic competence and communicative sensitivity and flexibility. So in a study of bilinguals and monolinguals, in activities of creativity, bilinguals outperformed the monolinguals, so they are better at using like creative skills to create a paper or do something in a task. And also it's really important to know that mental linguistic awareness is very similar to cognitive control, so it has the similar benefits to it, and it is like both very big benefits of being bilingual. So my next main mental benefit is the working memory. So in some studies of memory, the results were really inconclusive, because if you're not really equal in both languages, then you can't really have a good results to the test, and so then you're really not getting good results. But in a study of 60 monolinguals and 60 bilinguals that had equal memory or equal proficiency in each language, they showed an improvement in their memory tests, and they outperformed the monolinguals. And it also prevents loss of memory in diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. And not only can it prevent the disease, but it also can improve it. And so if you have Alzheimer's and you're bilingual, if you work back on talking in both languages or doing activities in both languages, it can prevent loss of memory and all the negativity that those diseases create. So next I'll be talking about the general benefits of bilingualism. So the general benefits of bilingualism are aids in communication around the world. So if you're bilingual in both of the main big languages in the world, you'll be more easily communicate with everyone. So let's say you're bilingual in Spanish and English. More of the population in the world is like Spanish, so you're able to communicate with other people in other countries and have better communication overall. It also has the improvement of like helping others communicate. So an example would be one of my friend's brothers. He's bilingual, and they go to Mexico each year, and he goes and helps at an eye clinic, and he helps the people who are the Hispanics talk to the eye doctors about like how they're feeling and communicates with them. And it's really beneficial because let's say you're in a doctor's office and you can't understand what they're saying. It would really freak you out if they're talking in a different language and they're doing stuff to you. It would really panic me if I didn't know what they were talking about. And it also helps if you're bilingual and you understand the language. It helps you understand the culture and better understand the way the society works. So it was really hard to find a counter argument to bilingualism because there's so many benefits, especially when it comes to the mind, because my counter argument is basically the culture loss. If the bilinguals are learning all the big languages in the world, it kind of pushes out the smaller languages even more. And it also can result in, if the bilingual programs are not fully developed, it can also result in holes in education. So bilinguals, if you're trying to be bilingual, you'll mostly choose like the dominant languages like Spanish, French, German, all those languages that are commonly known, and you won't pick the smaller languages that are dying out. And so the smaller languages will be even pushed further out of the way. But also, it's really hard to you're not going to want to learn the smaller languages either, because then you'll knock out the benefit of the learning of the culture and being able to have global communication. And another negative effect of this is if you're in a bilingual school system and the program's not completely developed and you're not learning proficiently in both languages, you can have holes in each language in your education and problems like that. And so where I went to school, they had holes in the program, and I was only in the 3rd year of the Spanish immersion program. So I have holes in English and stuff, holes in my education and that, and holes in the words that I know. So after reviewing all of my arguments, counter, and evidence of both of them, I can conclude that bilingualism promotes more benefits than it creates conflicts. And so I feel like it'd be better for people to be bilingual, and it has more benefits overall to the brain and to the world than it has negative effects.
So you said your counter-argument was a little bit hard to come by. So how did you handle the differing perspectives in order to reach your conclusion?
So I was thinking about trying to form the counter-argument, and I was saying, well, it's really hard to find the negative benefits. So I decided to think of the more general benefits of bilingualism and about the languages and cultures. And so it helped me looking at the cultures and the other different problems of the languages. And the Vanishing Voices article and talking about language loss kind of inspired me to think about the loss of culture and the loss of language that could be caused by the bilingualism.
Explain the level of certainty you have about your conclusion.
I feel like I'm very certain about my conclusion, because if I looked at I found a ton of articles and they all said the same things about these mental benefits and these benefits to the world, and it was really hard to find a counter argument. So you can be more certain if it's hard to find a counter argument that it's better to have it.